We now welcome the candidates for U.S. House, and I ask that you hold your applause until all are introduced. Incumbent Democrat John Carney, Republican Newcastle County Council President Tom Kovach, Green Party candidate Bernard August, and Libertarian candidate Scott Guesty. Candidates, welcome and thank you for taking part. We also want to welcome our panel of reporters who will be posing the questions this morning. WDEL senior correspondent Alan Ludell, WHYY's Nichelle Polston, and Doug Dennison from the News Journal. And thank you guys for taking part as well. Our format today, very important here. Each candidate will get 60 seconds to answer each question. And candidates, we will prompt you when you have 10 seconds remaining and when your time has run out as well. We ask that you abide by the timing rule so we can keep things moving forward, obviously. If you exceed your time, I will ask you to stop. And after each candidate has answered the question, I may offer a follow-up question or allow for discussion between the candidates as well. We will begin with an opening statement of up to 90 seconds from each candidate. To determine the order, we had each candidate draw a number, and drawing the first position was Mr. Kovach. Please go ahead with your opening statement.
Good morning. Thank you to WHYY. Thank you to Widener and Dean Ammons. Thank you to our journalists here today, you in the radio, you on the internet, and those of you in person. My name is Tom Kovach. I left my law firm partnership in December of 2008 to enter public service in the response to the critical need to get involved in public service because of the economic crisis and because of the lack of balance in Delaware government. As an attorney for over 15 years, I'm familiar with the role of advocate and the representation of the people with civility. But that civility is tempered with that zealous advocacy required, that passion required to be a leader. Do not be afraid to step out beyond your party, beyond your partisan roles, beyond that partisan politics that's dictating and putting our country in gridlock in Washington, D.C. We all have heard of the Delaware Way, and I'm very familiar with the Delaware Way, being an attorney in Delaware. That doesn't mean you don't zealously advocate for your own side. As a matter of fact, your duty as an attorney is to represent your client. My only client is the people of Delaware. It's not my party. It's not special interest groups. It's not the PACs who donate so much money to so many campaigns. I have a record, both in the State House and on County Council, standing up for the people of Delaware. I'll take that fight, that energy, and that advocacy to Washington, D.C. to serve as your representative in Congress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovach. Now to Congressman Carney for your opening statement, sir.
Well, good morning. I want to thank WDEL and WHYY for sponsoring this debate this morning. I want to thank Dean Ammons and the Widener School of Law for hosting us, and thank all of you for listening. When I ran for Congress back in 2010, I told people that I would do in Washington what I've done here in Delaware, which is work across the aisle to get things done. I learned a long time ago, growing up with my 8 brothers and sisters over in Claymont, that compromise and working together is part of life. And that's the attitude that I've taken with me to Washington. Early on, I started a bipartisan policy group. We focus on areas where we agree, not where we disagree. There are plenty of people in Washington focusing on areas where Democrats and Republicans disagree. And building on those relationships, we've had some success. Working together, we passed 3 bills to create jobs, reduce drug shortages, and help veterans find work when they come home. Our country faces a lot of big challenges for sure, and too many people in Washington are putting the next election over the next generation. A few months ago, I learned that a young Marine from Magnolia was wounded in Afghanistan. I called this Marine to wish him well. He didn't say much about his injuries. All he was concerned about was when he could get back to his base. We need leaders in Washington who will act like this Marine and put the country above themselves. And if I'm reelected, that's the kind of congressman I'll continue to be.
Very good, Congressman Carney. Thank you very much. Now it is time for Green Party candidate Bernard August. Your opening statement, sir.
Thank you, WDEL Radio, WHYY Public Television, and Widener Law University. I'm Bernie August, born in Wilmington and raised by Polish-German parents in a working-class neighborhood of Hedgeville. I'm a retired automobile worker and a social and environmental activist. I've been a patient rights advocate working with the Delaware Psychiatric Center. I've been a longstanding member of Patcham and Terrace. I've been a registered interventionist with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for over 30 years. And part of that was I was an interventionist in the 3 Mile Island restart hearings after the meltdown in 1979. I am one of hundreds of watchdogs that help ensure safe nuclear power plant operations, especially across the river in Salem. And as the media has covered me, I'm a proud member of Occupy Delaware. I appreciate this opportunity to be here. This debate is especially significant since, as some of you might have heard last week, I was taken away and handcuffed and arrested and incarcerated when I tried to participate in a similar debate at the University of Delaware. If you think about it, my exclusion at the UAD exemplifies the very nature of the monopolistic two-party winner-take-all system. It's the kind of treatment and my deep commitment for positive change for all Delawareans that motivates me to run. I stand in defense of our U.S. Constitution. We must save our Constitution and inalienable rights. I look forward to an interesting conversation this morning, and I'd like to look at 3 issues that are at stake for our democracy.
That's time.
Thank you.
And Mr. Guesty, your opening statement.
Yes, good morning. I'd also like to thank WHYY and WDEL and Widener University for having me here today. My name is Scott Guesty. I'm the Libertarian candidate. I've also been endorsed by the Independent Party of Delaware, so I'm representing them as well. I work in the financial service industry. I have for the last 20 years. I'm a licensed CPA in the state. I don't have the political experience that some of my opponents have, but I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm very concerned about the direction our country is going today. I mean, our middle class is being wiped out. We learned just last week that the middle class has shrunk and the middle class that has left, their wealth is decreasing. And this should surprise no one. They're being hit on one side by an unfair income tax system. We have an out-of-control Federal Reserve that prints money out of thin air and creates bubbles that burst that destroys the wealth of their investments. And when Obamacare hits in a couple years, they're really going to be hit on the chin. So we're going to be talking about those issues and a lot of other issues today. So I would like to thank you once again for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to providing what I believe are plausible, different solutions than what you've heard of before, and I look forward to the conversation. Thank you.